Okay, welcome to your first lesson on manual drafting. Now, as you can see, I'm in my home. My family has been quarantined because there was a close contact with one of my kids, so we all have to stay at home and work from home. So if you're watching this 2 or 3 years from now, this is 2020, November 2020, and it's the year of COVID. So, until further notice, I guess we're going to be at home for a few days. So for manual drafting, you're going to need a few things, and you're going to find all of this in your classroom. In fact, you're probably sitting at a desk that's identical to this one, except yours has a computer on it, so you only have about this much space to use. And you're going to find some T-squares in the room at the back. We have both a wooden plastic one and a metal T-square. Now, both will work fine, so if you run out of one, you can grab the other one. Only thing you want to make sure is that the head is secure on there. Sometimes these screws come loose and then the head wobbles, and then that is a good recipe for a bad draft. Now, those are both good. I'm just going to choose the metal one here. You will need to have a set square. Now, I have two with me, and there's both of these options. You only need one of them because we're only using the 90-degree side of them. Now, this is a 30, 60, 90, and when I say that, I'm just talking about the angle. So it has 30, a 60-degree, and a 90-degree angle. And this one here is a 45, 45, 90, 45, 45, 90. So I'm going to pick that one. Doesn't matter which one. You will also need a pencil. Now, a middle of the row pencil is this 2HB, so if you have something similar to that, maybe one softer or one harder, you can go ahead and just use that. I'm not going to ask you to get a drafting pencil because we're only doing this for a couple weeks, and we're doing some pretty introductory stuff. Once we're done this, we get into computer drafting, and we will no longer need this. So a pencil, make sure it's nice and sharp, especially for the first part where we need to draw construction lines. You will need to have a piece of paper, white. Mine's just a colored paper because it's going to show up nicer on the video. And you will need a ruler with metric increments on it for this assignment. Smaller than this would be fine. You will need to have masking tape. This stuff in the classroom might be green. A pencil sharpener, now there's one in the classroom as well. A white eraser, please, and one of these little brushes. Now these are also at the back of the classroom, and this is just an eraser brush where once I do some erasing, you don't want to brush it with your hand because it's going to smear the lead. You don't want to blow on it because you might spit on your paper. So what you usually do is you just brush off any eraser and eraser bits that are left behind. Now you might have access to this guide for drawing a border and title block, so if you have that, please get that out now and place it in front of you or to the side so that you can reference that. So let's get started. The T-square. The T-square has kind of this 90-degree angle, and it's kind of recessed, indented, I'm not sure how to describe it, so that it sits onto your table, and then you can put it flat against the table, and then that creates a 90-degree. And it allows me to slide this up and down like so. Okay, so that's how T-square works. You don't want to have it at an angle because then it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Now, the first thing we're going to do is tape down our paper. So to do that, I would like you to get a piece of masking tape about 10 centimeters long. And then you could pass this to the next person or whatever. Hang it back or put it back up at the back. Rip that in half, rip that in half, and rip that in half. So you have 4 pieces. You can just place those aside for now so you can grab them later. Then proceed to take your piece of paper, and we're just going to take, I'm going to work over here because my next camera I'm going to be using has to kind of show you this area. You can go right in the middle. I'm just going to go over here. You're going to fold up your piece of paper, and it just creates a couple edges that you can slide down against your T-square, and then just drop or lower the piece of paper. Double check that it's tight against the T-square. Place your hand on there, carefully so you don't move the paper. What I'm finding is with these drafting tables, we don't have drafting mat on these tables, so generally you'll have a green or a blue drafting mat so things don't slide around, and it allows you to control your pencil weight. Again, we don't have that, we're just doing introductory drafting, so that's okay, this will work just fine. So hold that down, tape the top two corners, just the edges of them because you don't want it to interfere with your drawing, and then tape the left side, right, left side, upper. We do the top first, then we can pull our T-square down and we can just pin this down or iron it out, and then tape the bottom corners just like so. Okay, now we're set up and ready to draw, so let's get at her. Okay, you see that I've set up my document camera here, so that's going to kind of be in the way of that video, but it's going to help me show you a little bit more close-up of what I'm drawing. So we're going to start by drawing a border, and the title block will come after that. To do that, let's just first review the metric ruler. So what you're going to see on here on the top part is you should see either centimeters or millimeters on the ruler, and all of these numbers indicate a centimeter, or every small tiny little mark indicates a millimeter. Now recall that 10 millimeters is in a centimeter, so if I wanted to make a, let's say, a mark on 9 millimeters from this point here, I would just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I would make a mark. Or let's say I'd want 1.5 centimeters. I would go 1.5 or halfway to the 2. Now this is just a quick review, and I'll show you all the measurements that you need as we go. The first thing we're going to do is take on the edge of our papers, so we're going to put the 0 on the edge of the paper, and we're going to make a small little light mark on the 1, and then we're going to go to the other side and put a whole number on the edge. So in this case 28, and I'm going to put a mark on 27. So that's 10 millimeters in on the right and 10 millimeters in on the left. And then I'm going to go and do the same on the top and the bottom. So 10 millimeters down. And on the bottom we're actually going to make 2 marks. So I guess we are going to start the title block as well. We're going to put the ruler on a whole number, so 22, and we're going to make a mark on 21 and 20. So those should be barely visible. We're drawing, first of all, with construction lines, and construction lines are meant to be barely visible. If you are maybe standing or about a meter away, you should barely see them. And you would normally use a very hard pencil to do that. Now, because we are using an average pencil, we are just going to press very, very lightly. Now, the T-square. And with all of the squares and rulers and set squares, generally we don't want to slide things around on your paper because it can smudge it, especially when we're not using the right pencil. So sometimes I'll just take and tilt this up and move it, or tilt it up and move it, and rather than sliding, I will drop near the area I want to take and draw on. So we have to be very careful, because when you draft, you want a nice, neat print when you're done. So let's begin by drawing those borders. So going right to the top, lining up with this point right here, and with my left hand I'm just holding that T-square against the table, and very lightly I'm going to pull that pencil very, very lightly across the top. I'm going to lift and pull that T-square down, drop it on that line, do the same here, lift and drop here, and now you're noticing that I'm not quite going to the end. That's because I know that I'm going to be drawing a line this way vertically as well. So this T-square can be used in conjunction with the set square. So to do this, again, the t-square goes flat against the edge of the table, and I just drop that set square on top of the paper, and I pull it down towards that t-square, and it rides on the top of that t-square. So now I can put that against that line, that little dot, small line I did there, and I can go ahead and do a very light line from the upper horizontal to the bottom horizontal. Then I can flip and turn the set square and do the same on this side. Okay, so what I have so far is I have a completed border. Now this has not been weightened, or in layman's term, darkened. We have not made that a dark line. We don't want to darken our lines or weighten our lines until the drawing is completed, because then it increases the chance of smudging. So now that we've made our border and we've started our title block, so this area right here is the title area. We'll continue with that. The title block is going to be 80 millimeters, or it's going to contain 80 millimeter sections from the left-hand side. So placing that ruler on your paper with the 0 on the border line, we're going to put a mark on 8 centimeters or 80 millimeters. And we're also going to put a mark on 160, which is, or 16, which is 8 plus 8, or 80 plus 80, like so. So 16. And then the rest is going to be a larger section. The first section is going to be my name, the middle my title, and the end is the grade and the period. Now we can proceed to draw a vertical line on that point. And we'll do the same over here. And there you have it. Your section for your name, your section for the title, and your section for the grade and period. Now, the name needs to float. All of these, name, title, grade, and period, need to float in the middle of these. So what we're going to do is create guidelines. Now, guidelines are also extremely light, and they're basically to guide your lettering so that you can make nice, neat lettering. So the guidelines are 6 millimeters, and this is 10 millimeters, remember, and I want it to float evenly in there. So what I'm going to do is go 10 minus 6 divided by 2. So the 10 millimeters minus 6, which is 4 millimeters, and then I divide that by 2, which is 2. So here I'm going to go 2 millimeters down and 2 millimeters up. And that's it. Those will transfer to the other sections as well. So just place your T-square on those lines. I go always a little bit below to allow for pencil thickness. And you do not need to go through those section segment lines. You can actually skip over them. So very lightly, you're going to go up to approximately here, skip over, and then go here, skip over, and then go here, like so. Those are a bit dark, a bit heavy, but maybe it'll show up a little bit nicer in the video. So there is our 3 sections with the areas for our printing. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to print our name, title, grade, and period. I'll just grab a scrap piece of paper, and if you don't have one, you can get one now. And on this scrap piece of paper, I'm going to show you how to center any words that you put in these areas. So to do this, first of all, in the name area, I'm going to be doing printing, I guess, Mr. Cardinal. So to center this, what I'm going to do is count the letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the space, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 letters. When I divide that by 2, I get 5.5. So when I want to center this, I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. The R is in the middle. Let's double check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Perfect. That R is in the middle. So when I'm putting in my lettering, I want the R to be in the middle. Now when I'm printing, I need to be comfortable. So I'm going to actually move my chair over to the left because I'm so used to printing on a slant. So if I want to print in nice, basically it's an Arial font is what you're printing in, I want to be comfortable. So from this middle part, I'm just going to spell my name from R backwards. So R, A, K, space, R, M. So I'm going to start my M right there. It might not work out the first time, but we'll give her a shot. Now, you've practiced some printing right now with that practice sheet that I gave you probably yesterday or last class. So to print out your name, we're going to begin. Now, when you print your name, you're not going to be weighting this later. So you want to print in the weight that it's going to stay. Remember to try to stay within your guidelines. Going right from the top all the way to the bottom. I rotate my pencil once in a while just to keep the lead uniform. So I'm centered. I've got a little bit of space here, maybe a little bit more on the right. Let's try again for the title. Actually, we're going to leave the title for now because we don't know what we're drawing next. But we'll do the title when we figure out what we're drawing. It'll probably be an orthographic drawing, and it'll probably be blue. Actually, it is going to be blue, so let's do that now. Ortho blue. So again, ortho. Ortho is short for orthographic, so ortho, and blue is the color of the block we're going to be drafting. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Divided by 2 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the end of the O is my middle point. So going from the middle, and you can guesstimate this, you don't need to measure. We're going to go O, H, T, R, O. Okay, we'll start here. Ortho, period, blue. Okay, and that's centered pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Next thing we're going to do grade. So we've got grade, 8, and space. Maybe we'll do a double space, single space here. And then period, we're going to abbreviate PER, period. Whatever period it happens to be, let's just pick period 5, so space 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Divided by 2 equals 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my middle point, my center line. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes. So let's go with the 8 and go backwards from there. This is my center point here. 8, space, E, D, A, R, G. So we should be good about here. Grade, space 8, and then double space, period, 5. Okay, there you have it. So now we have a border and title block. And you're going to get quite used to doing a border and title block because you have approximately 6 drawings that you need to do, 3 orthographic and 3 isometric drawings, and they're all going to be using this identical title block. Now, if you ever are, ahead, and you can go ahead and you can draw your title blocks. It's easy to draw your title blocks, put them in a folder, and take them out later as you need them. Okay, so that's the end of my border and title block lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Next, we're going to be drawing the orthographic blue block. See you later.